do that. We also need leadership from her. Oh, that is going to be a foul on Jewel Lloyd, and they're going to take a look at that.
Yeah, that might be upgraded. See, Jewel, as she was fighting over, I think, felt that she got hit, but then she just went right in. You'll have a chance to see it on this replay.
Minimum, it'll be a personal foul on Jewel Lloyd, but could be.
Did the Indiana Fever really lose Game 5, or were they straight up robbed by refs who had no intention of letting them walk out with a win? Think about it. Aliyah Boston fouls out late on what looked like a perfectly clean rebound. Kelsey Mitchell? She's hacked, battered, beaten all night. Cramps so bad, she ends up in the hospital. Odyssey Sims? Gets clipped on a drive, yet still drops a jaw-dropping 27 points. And the whistle? Oh, it was leaning Vegas's way every single time. Fair game? Please. If you honestly thought this matchup was called down the middle, then you weren't watching closely enough. This wasn't just a loss. It was survival through chaos, brutal injuries, and a parade of officiating disasters that flat-out stole the series from Indiana. And then comes the big question. What did Lexi Hull say after this devastating, heartbreaking, stolen game? That's the story no one's letting slide.
I feel like this game, between the adversity but also the resilience, was just like a microcosm of this whole season. And did that, in a way, like, you're like, oh, we've been here before.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Steph said in the huddle. Like, we're built for this moment. When Kelsey went down, and then we're challenging the call on AB. We've been here before, so it's just so unlucky, so crazy that had to happen.
What if the Fever's biggest opponent in this series wasn't the two-time champs at all, but the referee crew and their whistle? Honestly, that's exactly how it started to feel. From Game 1, a pattern emerged that fans simply couldn't ignore. Every time Indiana built momentum, it seemed to get snatched away by a questionable call that handed possession right back to Vegas. Just to set the tone, Aliyah Boston was getting whistled for touch fouls that NFL quarterbacks would literally shrug off, while Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull were fighting through defenders draped all over them, and still, the whistle stayed silent. By the end of the first 3 games, the Fever's frustration wasn't with their execution, but with how the game was being officiated. And let's be clear, these weren't just random slip-ups. By Game 3, the imbalance was glaring. Free throw numbers leaned heavily toward the Aces, which didn't just mean easy points at the line. It shifted the entire energy and momentum of the series. How do you sustain defensive intensity when every stop risks being erased by a foul call? Meanwhile, Indiana kept battling through what looked like near tackles at the rim, without ever earning the same whistle. Even Fever coach Stephanie White admitted the inconsistency made it nearly impossible to plan. After all, how can you draw up a strategy when a screen might be called a legal one trip, then completely ignored the next?
Ball goes up. Aliyah Boston.
I don't think that's a foul.
To Indiana, and a late loose ball foul is called against.
Are you joking me?
And of course, fans noticed big time. Media voices quickly followed, saying the quiet part out loud. Some called it outright bias. Others even suggested the Aces stars were getting special treatment. And honestly, the more the numbers piled up, all those free throws, all those missed calls, the more believable it became. This wasn't random anymore. This was a clear pattern that threatened competitive balance in every single matchup. By the time Game 4 wrapped, nobody could seriously argue it was just coincidence. The Fever weren't just battling Las Vegas. They were battling a relentless whistle that shoved them back at every turn. And if those first 4 games were frustrating, then Game 5? That's when everything absolutely exploded.
Shit was rigged. Like, the Indiana Fever fought so hard, but like, they literally had 8 injured players. They had 8 injured players, and Aliyah Boston fouled out for phantom fouls. And they still got to overtime. Like, you can't deny that. Like, you can't, like, the Indiana, they did everything in their power to try to rig that game in regulation. And Indiana just didn't go.
Imagine fighting for your entire season while knowing every foul call already feels pre-written against you. That was Game 5 for the Indiana Fever. This wasn't about X's and O's anymore. It was about dodging phantom whistles and trying to survive as every ounce of momentum kept getting funneled back to the Las Vegas Aces. And yet, despite it all, despite Kelsey Mitchell literally being carried off the floor, despite Aliyah Boston sitting in deep foul trouble, Indiana refused to fold. They clawed, they fought, and they nearly pulled off the impossible, even forcing overtime. But here's the kicker. You can't play 5-on-8 forever. Early in the second half, Boston was tagged with one of the softest moving screen calls you'll ever see. Seriously, go watch it back. She barely brushed the defender, and still, the whistle blew. It was almost like the refs couldn't wait to pin another foul on her. Minutes later, Megan Gustafson sold contact with a flop worthy of an Oscar, one that would have made LeBron James proud. And, of course, the officials rewarded her with another offensive foul on Boston. Unbelievable.
Boston do this. Just back her way down. Typically, players do not go down when she makes that contact here. Gustafson goes, gets the foul call.
Now, that alone would have been infuriating enough, but the real knockout punch came in crunch time. With just 26 seconds left on the clock, Aliyah Boston battled Jackie Young for a rebound and was whistled for her sixth and final foul. Just like that, she was done. Out of the game, the Fever challenged, desperate for anyone, to see what the entire arena saw, nothing more than two players simply fighting for position. But no, the call stood. And with Boston sidelined, Jackie Young calmly stepped to the line, sank the free throws, and gave Vegas the lead. Indiana was forced to finish regulation without their all-star anchor in the paint. Just imagine that.
The ball goes up. Aliyah Boston.
I don't think that's a...
And here's another gut punch. Kelsey Mitchell never even got the chance to help in those critical final minutes. She'd been absolutely pummeled all night, arms draped over her, hips checking her on every drive, and yet, zero whistles. Her body finally gave out midway through the third quarter. Right after drilling a clutch three-pointer, she grabbed at her leg and had to be helped off the floor, straight into the locker room, suffering from severe cramps. At that point, she already had 15 points and was still the anchor of Indiana's offense. And what was the response from Vegas defenders? More bumps, more hacks, still zero accountability from the officials. Meanwhile, the ugly moments just kept stacking up. Case in point, when Chelsea Gray shoved Lexi Hull so hard that fans in the arena were expecting a flagrant review. Nothing. Not even a second glance.
Nothing.
This is some bull crap. They're going to just shove Lexi Hall and then say that's a common foul. Like, this is not unnecessary force. Are you kidding me? If this how this game's going to go, like, I'm sick just watching Lexi Hall get beat up.
Natasha Howard? She got raked across the arms like she was skating on ice. And what did the Fever get in return? Silence. Odyssey Sims absorbed heavy contact all night long, even getting clipped on a drive in overtime, only to be treated like she was the one initiating the foul. And the numbers? They tell the story clearer than anything else. 25 fouls whistled against Indiana. Meanwhile, Vegas practically set up camp at the free throw line. You can't make this stuff up.
Three things I didn't like. Look at that. Smacked her arm and her entire body. Honestly, could have been a flagrant foul. Look at this. And she's going to scream like she got all ball, like she's so excited. Like, anybody could go through somebody's entire body and get a block shot. Like, you should be seeing if she's okay. Gosh dang. And then, why do they hit Howard in the face, but they don't review these and give him technicals like they do on the Fever? And then we all saw that one. They called that a basketball play. Bullcrap.
I mean, Aya Wilson alone made 10 trips to the free throw line. Meanwhile, Aliyah Boston, who was battling under the rim on every single possession, managed just 2. You don't need advanced analytics to see how shocking that imbalance was, right? And yet, despite all of it, down players, down calls, down their leader in the paint, Indiana refused to quit. They fought. They clawed. They battled until Odyssey Sims exploded for 27 points, dragging the Fever back into a tie at the end of regulation. Overtime didn't happen because the whistle finally gave them a break, It happened because the Fever flat out refused to hand Vegas the win. That wasn't just resilience. That was pure defiance. And honestly, that defiance defined this Fever squad far more than the scoreboard ever could. What made this run so special wasn't just how they endured what many would call corruption. It was the sheer fire, the relentless fight, and the undeniable heart every single player brought to the floor.
Sims, the
Hush,
push.
y'all.
Hush,
It was
y'all.
only a 2-point game.
Betched.
And sometimes,
It's a 2-point game.
the most inspiring
sometimes
victories
the
aren't
most
etched on the
inspiring
scoreboard at
victories
all.
aren't actually
They're
found on the
carved into the
scoreboard.
hearts
They're
left on
found
the
in the
floor.
hearts left on the
Game
floor.
5 was
Game
supposed to
5
be
was
about
supposed to
survival,
be about
right?
survival,
But instead,
right? But what
it became a
actually
powerful
was a
showcase of
powerful
players who
showcase of
refused
players
to let
who
a
simply
crooked
refused
whistle
to let
define
all
them.
those bad
Their
calls
grit,
define them.
their toughness,
incredible effort,
their rock-solid
undeniable
unity.
toughness,
It all
and their
created a
rock-solid
story far bigger,
togetherness created a
far more
story
meaningful
far bigger and
than
more
the one
meaningful
written
than
on the
one just
scoreboard.
written on.
Fire. She's our battery. She's moving great, and she will drive us, and that's been true so far.
Thank you, Hal. Sims, pull-up jumper, she got it.
Now, let's talk about Odyssey Sims for a moment. This is a player who wasn't even on the roster for most of the season, signed late on a hardship contract, and then suddenly transformed into the heartbeat of the entire series. In Game 5, she poured in a ridiculous 27 points, dished out 6 assists, and shot a blistering 50% from the field. Whenever Indiana's offense broke down, Sims carried them. She blew past defenders who simply couldn't stay in front of her, finished through heavy contact that officials flat out ignored, and then her clutch layup late in regulation tied the game, sending everyone into overtime with a surge of belief that maybe, just maybe, the whistle wouldn't decide everything. Sims wasn't just playing well. She was the embodiment of grit, fearlessness, and fight, the spark that gave the Fever life when they needed it most.